Another day, another dose of madness. Don't take anything for granted. And cherish the journey. Oh, same code as before. Just to make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah, we're pretty much... We have to be getting close to the end of things here. And we're pretty much done with this half of the character board. All that's left are our two cops over here, Carlos and Alicia, Spotty, and Jack. I promised we're gonna continue this story. So let's continue. Officer Minjun's home was very clean. On top of that, the Superior Investigation Agency in Unit 3 had been combing through this place for quite a few days, so it was very clean, too. There were no other visitors anymore. Police tape was stretched across the door. The calendar in the living room was still on Wednesday's page. It was the day of his murder. It had already been 3 days since then. Remember that Minjun once mentioned that he didn't like those calendars that had Sunday as the first day of the week. The weird word wrap there. Su-ende. He said he always preferred Monday as the start of the week. To him, it represented a new beginning for our work. Although as police officers, we never really did enjoy and relax on the weekends. Bowls and dishes in the cabinets were all spotless and meticulously stacked. There weren't many clothes in the closet. I remembered every single one. A whole bunch of old DVD discs were stacked in the TV stand. All of them were military documentaries about wars and weapons. I walked around the whole apartment several times, but I couldn't find anything relevant to his personal connections. I lay down on the couch and stared at the ceiling that wasn't too high up, feeling like I had run into a dead end. According to Jigal Wan-yun, Lieutenant Kang was definitely innocent, because they were drinking together at the time of Minjun's death. However, drinking with a gangster was not going to be a very convincing alibi for him. Besides, it might cause other unnecessary problems. At this point, the only way to prove Lieutenant Kang's innocence was to find the real murderer. I'd also gotten some information about Officer Minjun himself from Jigal. Officer Minjun used to have a criminal record because he had been involved in a murder. For some reason, the case had been dropped, and there probably weren't any records of it either. Suspicious. At the very least, there had been nothing about this in the electronic records in the police station's archives. Of course, not many people know about this at all. Moreover, Officer Minjun was not just a casual military and weapon aficionado. Oh, he had privately purchased lots of regulated and even banned weapons through multiple shady channels. His arsenal could probably arm a small team of special ops soldiers. However, Jigal had said that he wasn't sure if his special hobby was relevant to his death. The information that did have a direct connection to the case was in regards to surveillance tapes. All the surveillance videos from near the apartment building on the day of the murder were gone. Therefore, it was very likely that Officer Minjun had been killed in his own home. Unfortunately, there hadn't been any witnesses who might have seen if he had any visitors that day. Overall, although I had gathered a lot of potentially valuable information, I still had no clue as to the true identity of the killer. Yawn. I was getting sleepier the more I thought about it. Just as I was falling asleep, I felt something on my butt. I put my hand into the back pocket of my pants and took out Officer Minjun's keys. There was a keychain fob that was in the shape of a telephone. I remembered the fob really well. There were not many keys on the shape, but the fob, however, seemed way too big and inconvenient. I remember that I had once been pouring some water for Officer Minjun while he was reading a new edition of the Firearms Encyclopedia. I was peeking at the book over his shoulder when I accidentally spilled the water all over his desk. Officer Minjun immediately pulled out some napkins and started wiping his keys and the fob while cursing at me. He did not wipe the book first, so this is something important. Could it be? I went into the kitchen, found some flour, and sprinkled it on the fob. Oh. Oh. I shook it and then blew on it. It worked! 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. These are probably the most frequently used digits. Tried pushing them. Buttons on the fob could indeed be pressed. Looks like this could be a passcode to something. However, I didn't know what the passcode was for, or what the passcode would be. Speaking of code, I could vaguely recall that Officer Bin-Jun once told me about a series of mystic numbers, which might just have something to do with this. But I remember that those mystic numbers only had 6 digits, but there were 7 potential digits here. Could we bet that the passcode was changed often? I seem to recall that there were some relevant formulas. Oh, hello. Officer Min-jun had written those down for me while trying to explain how mystical the numbers were. Okay, regardless, I should give it a try. Let me think. Code was probably 1, 2, 8, 5, 7, 4. Nothing happened. No, I couldn't just try a random combination. There were too many possibilities. 6 digits, 6 digits. Why would there be one too many being pressed on the fob? Certain that... Oh. Officer Min-jun had written the numbers down on the center corner of the piece of paper that I had written my report on. Maybe I had written something else on it later? It was so long ago, I must have thrown it away. Oh, this was so frustrating. What on earth was the passcode? Chenggung-min. Interesting. One, 2, 8, 5, 7, 4. So this is only... Okay, yeah, this is gonna be... I need to go look. Is this... So it's not locked, it's just something that I need to... Unit transfer request. Spa. Grenade then. I need to figure out where. Old report of yours that Ooh. Previous Lieutenant of Unit 2, Jigal Suk. Any relation to Jigal Wan Yung? Offense? Oh, that's okay. Is that Officer Min Jun? Ooh. As well as stuff may have been handled story-wise, that's a really awesome picture. Holy shit. Ooh. It's Alicia's old friend Zuko. Oh, that's the opening. One, two, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. I don't... Achievement list in here? Lead your exploration in a truly wonderful world. Oh boy. Geek in the Shell. Complete the profile of Jimmy. Okay. I may have to come back to this later. We are back. And do you see this down here? I'm pretty certain this was here the whole time. There's a whole bunch of numbers down here, which I didn't really think all that much of. So look for it down here. Is it still here? Yeah, it's faintly there. But it's easier to see when I actually replay the letter. This was the cargo shorts and the beach shirt. I want to go back into here quick. So we have the calendar was still on Wednesday's page. And it had been 3 days since then. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's a reason that they told us all this information. The calendar's on Wednesday's page. It's been 3 days since then. And he considers Monday the start of the week. Let's... Oh, no. I don't actually want to do that. I want to start. And I took a screenshot of the numbers there and upped the brightness and contrast a little bit so you can read this better. You can see 1, 2, 3. Can't really see it because I'm not capturing the mouse on here, but you see 1 through 7. And they're all... 1 through 6 are all combinations of 6 numbers. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. And 7 is 9999999. Which explains why there's 6 numbers in the code, but 7 frequently used. So, we know Officer Minjun likes to start at 1. Considers Monday 1. Minjun died on Wednesday. It's been 3 days since then. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're on code number 6. Which means that the password is 857142. 57. Oh, I'm bad. 857142. Finally! Oh, goddamn. That was fun. Beep! I heard an electric beeping. Before I could figure out where the beeping had come from, the body mirror in the middle of the living room suddenly rotated by itself, revealed a long and narrow tunnel behind it. I climbed into the tunnel and took a sharp right turn. At the end of the tunnel was a long and narrow room hidden between 2 walls, barely wider than the tunnel itself. I entered the narrow space and was surrounded by stainless steel walls. It was lit by several daylight bulbs, which somehow gave the room a feeling of holiness. There were all kinds of hooks and shelves attached to the steel walls, while numerous firearms and grenades were placed upon them. Oh! There are a dozen AWMs, even RPGs. Arctic Warfare Mag... Oh, damn. Even RPGs. It was indeed an arsenal. Now I understood why Officer Minjo would always tell me that he would lend me a grenade. He hadn't been joking. As I was the one in possession of the fob, I assumed that no one in Unit 3 had found this place yet. Maybe there might be some clues in here. Most of the guns were covered with a little bit of dust, but the floor, on the other hand, seemed unusually clean. I kept walking back and forth in the room. Sat down, crouched down, even lay down, which is when I finally saw it. Next to the wall opposite of the door, there was a small wooden table, on which there were all kinds of firearm cleaning and maintenance tools. One of the table legs next to the wall seemed to have a slightly darker tip than the others. It looked like it had been covered with something dirty. I turned on the flashlight and pointed it at the table leg. It wasn't just something dirty, it was blood. I could also see 2 small seams in the table leg where the bloodstain was. I reached out with my hand and touched the seams. The middle part between the seams suddenly sprung open. It was a secret slot with something inside of it. I took the item out of the slot. It was a recorder, and it was still recording. I pressed the stop button first, and then pressed play. Voices came out of the speaker. One was the familiar voice of Officer Min-jun. "When are you going to stop bothering me? Think you could just hide from me by not coming to the station?" It was another familiar voice. My eyes opened wider. I stared at the recorder in my hand, and I couldn't believe my ears. Although it wasn't as loud and clear as it had usually been, there was no way I would have mistaken that voice. The second voice belonged to the lieutenant of Unit 3, Kim Jong-ho. "I've done enough for you. Everything is over now. I resign and go back to my hometown next week." "You want to go home?" "Don't be ridiculous. Did you forget about your dirty little secret? Legal possession of weapons is one thing, but being a murderer is another. You don't need me to tell you how many years you'll be spending in jail for manslaughter, do you?" C0795. Are you going to blackmail me with that my entire life? Think I'm going to just let you do that? I've done so much dirty work for you, and you think I never kept my own evidence? Are you talking about this? You, how did you get that? How did you know where I hid them? Did you really think I wouldn't know about your little tricks? I have my men tailing you 24/7. After all, you're just a pawn in my hands. I couldn't just let you wander around as you wish now, could I? You want to threaten me with just some tapes? You're so naive. Even without those tapes, I still have other ways. You've conspired with Ju Min-yu and told me to murder Choi Yo-han's son during a mission, just to instigate a war between Choi and Lieutenant Kang, just so that you and Ju could benefit from their losses. If I leak this information to the Musun gang, I can guarantee that those people who are against Ju would want to take you out. They don't need too much sound evidence. Oh, and speaking of Lieutenant Kang, if he ever learned about what you've done, he'd never let you get away. I don't care if I'll be sent to prison or not anymore. I want my conscience back, and I swear I will take you down with me. Well, that's really unfortunate. You weren't like this a few years ago when I first sent you in Unit 4. Back then, you were just a coward who didn't even dare to look me in the eyes when you were talking to me. I guess you've grown these past few years with Kangbekya. What a shame. I'll really miss you, kid, since I'll never see you again. As long as you let me go home, I swear I will never tell anything to anyone else. I'll have nothing to do with any of this anymore. I do believe that you won't tell anyone. I'm very confident about that, because I'm about to kill you. Because dead men tell no tales. Then I heard the sound of silenced gunfire, the sound of a body falling down, and a weak and brief groan. Neither voice said anything else. All I could hear was the sound of a door being opened and closed, as well as something being dragged through the floor. Those must be the sounds of Kim Jong-ho cleaning up the crime scene and taking Officer Min-jun's body away. After that, the recording kept going for a long time, but there was no more sound at all. Officer Min-jun must have started the recording via remote control, but he was never able to stop it. I pressed the stop button again and stared at the dark red mark on the table leg. I could almost see how he struggled to paint the table leg with his own blood in the final moments of his life, while avoiding being seen by Kim Jong-ho. I opened my clenched fist, and I gave him a salute. Godspeed. Thank you. I will defend your conscience, Officer Min-jun. I will defend your conscience, my friend. I guess we aren't quite ready to get whatever might be coming next. Oops. Bucking around there. So I guess our only choice here. That sounds ominous. Don't like that. Days spent in prison could be boring. At noon, while the sun was right in the middle of the sky, Jin and Kang got in an argument with each other in the yard yet again. In a couple of minutes, they would start a brawl. Everyone else in the yard, inmates and guards alike, would become spectators. It turned into a daily routine. I sat under a tree far away from the ruckus. I wore my hat low and put my hands in my pockets, hoping to hide my nervousness from the guards and the other curious inmates. I'd been in prison for almost half a month. At first I thought that I might have been arrested for wandering the streets in women's clothing. It was a strange reason to be arrested in Hong Kong, but I simply couldn't think of any other possibilities. Never would I have ever imagined that another possibility could exist. They finally told me that I had been arrested for murder. This was beyond ridiculous. The 10 Commandments of the Catholic Church, the 5th commandment, thou shalt not kill. How could I possibly have committed murder? The person that they accused me of killing? I had never even met him before. Ren used to tell me stories about how gangs would sometimes send some of their own young boys to confess for the crimes of their bosses. Is this what happened here? Usually they would at least get the story straight first. Why hadn't I heard anything about this in advance? I tried to send a message outside, hoping to get in touch with Mr. Kwan or any of the other people in the group. But I hadn't heard anything back. Just when I was starting to lose hope, an unexpected visitor came to see me. It was so brave and nice for Yi to visit. Oh! She was wearing a light green chintzu. Cheongsam, even more beautiful than the one that I remembered. Her hair hadn't all grown back yet, but she still looked good. Yi told me that after I had saved her from the auction house, she had been worried about me. She'd even sent someone from the Blood Gang back to Pitt Street 99 to ask about me. I found out that I had never been back there ever since. Coincidentally, the man Yi had sent in ran into Ren. Ren had been worried about me too, and he also happened to know Yi's man. So Ren went with him to the Blood Gang and told Yi everything he knew. I was arrested by the police on the same day that I helped Yi escape. Mr. Quan heard from the auction house about what I had done. He was outraged, but before he sent people to come after me, he got a phone call from the secretary of Mr. Lin. In the phone call, he was told that it had been arranged for me to stay in prison. From then on, whatever happened to me should not concern group loyalty anymore. Mr. Quan and the others didn't know for sure how I defended the bosses so much. Based on the instructions they heard, they suspected that I wouldn't have much longer to live. Oh. Ren gave Yi all my personal belongings that I had left with the group, hoping that she could bring them to me when she visited. Yi's finger accidentally touched my phone when she was showing me my things. It lit up. A woman with curly red hair appeared on my screen. What? One of the Blood Gang members with us immediately recognized her. What? Do you know my sister? I couldn't contain my excitement and jumped up from the chair. Stay quiet! The guard behind me stepped forward and pushed me back down. Yi unlocked her own phone and turned the screen toward me after a few clicks. Oh no! I saw a list of people, some without a name, but only a photo, followed by a string of digits. I read through the list one by one and stopped at the fifth person. She looked so much like my big sis, but her name was labeled Dragon. Huh. That was quite a coincidence. Your sister last contacted you from Hong Kong, right? Well, she's never left. She's now one of the top assassins in the field. There's an $8 million bounty on her head. Dragon is her code name. Jin and Kang finally started fighting. Cheers erupted around them. All the other inmates and guards were gathering around them. I snuck into the storage room at the corner of the yard while no one else was watching. I had long noticed this one locker inside the storage room. It was full of random things that had not been claimed in a long time. I opened the locker with one hand and pulled my other hand out of my pocket. I had been holding some tools in my palm, which was completely wet as I had been sweating nervously the whole time. The tools had been brought in by Yi. She had hidden them inside of the toiletries that she gave me. She told me to use those tools to break out of prison. Oh. Yi also said that my being arranged into going into prison probably had something to do with my sister. Someone might be using me as leverage to blackmail Alicia. Oh no. Could it be our revenge on her by punishing me? Whichever the case was, I needed to get out of here as soon as possible. Unfortunately, the Black Dragon Gang was in control of this prison, so Yi and the Blood Gang couldn't just break me out of here. Therefore, I had to do that part by myself. Once I was out, the Blood Gang would assist me in any way they could. We've made friends by saving Yi. So a prison break. Was I capable of something like that? Never mind whether or not the guards would catch me if I tried. My cellmate alone would probably ruin the whole thing before I even got started. Nevertheless, I decided to hide the tools well in advance. Even if somebody discovered them here, they wouldn't be able to trace them back to me. As for my sister, I needed more time to think about this new information. Maybe I could find out more while I was still inside. I was just about to close the locker when I heard slow footsteps and wheels rubbing against the ground outside. They were getting closer and closer to the storage room. Crap, please don't be the guards. I hastily hid inside of the locker and closed it. I could still see a little of what was going on outside through the door crack. A blonde man in a prison uniform pushed a cart inside and closed the door. There were a few bags of concrete in the cart. Oh. I had heard that a new prison building was under construction. Lots of inmates were assigned to work on the site. He must be one of them. A blonde man in a prison uniform. He started to unload the bags. 1, 2, 3. Another inmate was under the bags. His mouth was gagged and his limbs were tied up. Finally, I recognized both of them. The blonde one was said to be an infamous serial killer. What? 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 Everyone called him Pi, and he had been sentenced to life in prison. Sure. The other one that Pi had just dragged out of the cart and tossed on the ground was Kai. He was a serial rapist who had been sentenced to 20 years for over 48 assaults. He was lying there, barely conscious. Oh, okay. It wasn't unusual for inmates to have a go at each other. However, Kai seemed to have been completely knocked out. Our yard time would be over in half an hour. If they stayed in here too long, it might be hard to sneak out. Pi found me hiding in the locker. That might be even worse. Pi put on his gloves. I swallowed nervously. He pinned Kai to the ground and choked his neck, until Kai eventually stopped moving completely. I opened the locker. Oh! He noticed me. Pi grabbed me by the collar and dragged me out of the locker, then chopped me on the neck with his bare hand. Where is Jimmy the Toilet Bandit? Unimaginable pain traveled from my neck to my head, and I could feel my brain being cut off from the rest of my body before I blacked out. When I woke up, I found myself stuffed inside a bulk bag. Everything below my chest had been submerged in concrete, which had not completely hardened. The pressure on my chest was making it almost impossible to breathe. To stop me from making any sounds, he had also sealed my lips with a piece of cloth soaked with concrete. Jeez. I rocked my body as hard as I could and fell to the ground. Then I saw another bag which had been filled with solid concrete right before my eyes. The weird shape of the bag convinced me that Kai must be inside it. It was late at night. Pi would probably come back early in the morning and finish the job. Then he would throw these two bags with our bodies in them into the foundation of the new building. Pour some more concrete over both of our concrete coffins. No one would ever know. I had nothing to do with this. We're just here to hide something. How did I end up like this? Carlos. Why is Pi in this story? I thought we were fucking done with Pi. Pi was still focused on Kai and paid no attention to the person who just jumped out of the locker. I heard that Pi was mentally ill, but his diagnosis had come back normal. Some people said that the diagnosis must have been forged, as there were plenty of people who hated him and wanted him to be sent to prison. Nevertheless, seeing the twisted expression on his face right now, I was certain that the normal diagnosis must have been fake. In any case, as long as he hadn't noticed me, I figured I should just sneak out. I inched toward the door slowly and steadily, then I turned around very carefully. You two have fun now. When I was only 2 steps away from the door, I felt a breeze on the back of my neck, and then my body stopped responding to anything. Pi has teleportation powers. That's why Jimmy had to develop his fucking toilet diving powers to defeat Pi and his magical teleportation powers. Of course, it makes perfect sense. When I woke up, I found myself feeling itchy and cold and stuffed inside a bulk bag. Everything below my neck had been submerged in concrete, which had not completely hardened. Next, the solid concrete, Kai is inside. That's okay, Kai can just die, just spare Carlos. Oh, Pi had come over with another bucket of concrete. He saw that I was awake, but didn't even bother to knock me out. He just poured the concrete into the bag. I wish that he would just punch me instead. The concrete had gone over my nose. Oh, this is worse. I couldn't breathe anymore. Oh no. I was seeing all kinds of hallucinations, and hearing all kinds of noises. Maybe I should have talked to him instead of trying to sneak out. Perhaps he would like me better then and let me live. I felt so pathetic, dying like this. I must have committed too many sins to end up like this. Sister, where are you? I miss you so much. Oh geez, that was sad. I've got a few endings to go. Okay, Kai dies. I exit. Oh, okay. This is good. I made up my mind and came out of the locker. Looked at the unconscious Kai, hoping that he was still alive. Hey, don't you think that he suffered enough? He'll be 60 by the time he can get out. He will die alone for sure. I'm certain he will regret what he did in his youth. Killing him now is actually showing him mercy, right? You really don't have to do this. I inched closer to the door as I was speaking. I need to stay as far away from this lunatic as I could. I don't know how I feel about the implications of this violin music. I didn't really have any sympathy for Kai. Yeah, Kai can just suffer. That is okay. I heard that he had even raped some 50-year-old. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Kai could just die. That's fine. You have fun with Kai. Just leave me out of it. Bye. By that note, he might still hurt people even if he was released at 60. Pai seemed to be pondering my words. Huh. Who knew that lunatics could think too? I was only 2 steps away from the door. He spoke. You make a good point. But I still think he should suffer a little more. That's fine. What he did next paralyzed me. Oh. I stood there completely stunned, watching Pai take my brand new dagger out of the locker and use it to cut off Kai's private part. He then rubbed some concrete on his wound. That's fine. Oh. Next he covered Kai's severed private part with concrete and stuffed it into Kai's hands. Kai was still unconscious the whole time. This was something that a normal person would never witness their whole life. I was in such shock that I completely forgot about escaping. After he was done, Pai asked me what I had been doing in the locker while cleaning up the blood on the floor. I still couldn't move, and I dare not lie to the psycho in front of me. I told him everything. Concerned. He finished his cleaning, walked up to me, and put one arm around my shoulder. The cloth in his right hand, soaked with Kai's blood, even brushed against my frozen face. A prison break. Sounds like fun. Count me in. You can stay here, Pai. You can stay here, Pai. In fact, please stay here.
Porque siempre me pasa esto.
Okay, this is literally our only letter right now. I mean, I feel like we should be getting a different letter. We may as well see if we can get that A ending. Made up my mind and came out of the locker. Kai looked surprised when he saw me, but he soon passed out because of the pain. This perish. Hey, don't you think that he's suffered enough? He'll be 60 by the time he can get out. He will die alone for sure. I'm certain he will regret what he did in his youth. Killing him now is actually showing him mercy, right? You don't have to do this. I inched closer to the door as I was speaking. I need to stay as far away from this lunatic as I could. Didn't really have any sympathy for Kai. Pai seemed to be pondering my words. Huh, who knew that lunatics could think too? When I was only 2 steps away from the door, he spoke. Make a good point. I still think he could suffer a little more. Oh. Operation. Yeah? Kai was eventually sent into the medical office of the prison. Both Pai and I were brought to the warden's office later. Oh, I suspected Kai had said something to the guards. However, everyone knew that Pai was a tough character, so neither the inmates nor the guards dared to mess with him. They were all afraid that Pai would one day mysteriously murder them. Therefore, he got out of trouble scot-free. The same thing couldn't be said for me. I was soon transferred to a solitary cell with higher security. Breaking out of prison was looking more and more unlikely. Shit. Never mind, that's bad. We need that S rank. Fine. An ace. Nightly roll call had just ended. All of the gates were locked. It finally quieted down and the guards had left. I pulled a chair up to the bottom bunk and sat in front of Hotaru with a smile on my face. I need to ask you for a favor. Hotaru and I had been in the same cell for over 2 months. We were still not friends who would chat with each other, so we had to be a little surprised when at what I had just said. I figured that even if he didn't want to respond. He would be curious at what I wanted. What? I'd like to play a card game with you. The whole thing began about a month ago. He had come to visit me in prison and warned me to get out of here as soon as I could. Prison break sure sounded cool to me, but it was an incredibly difficult task. Then I was caught by Pi while trying to hide the tools. I had no choice but to tell him everything. To my surprise, he offered to join me. What kind of luck did I have? I used to watch a movie with Ren about a prison break. The movie The Prisoner had been secretly digging a hole in his cell for years, until he finally managed to escape on a stormy night. Oh, Shawshank! Would I have to do this for years, too? Besides, it was not something that would get easier with more people involved. We even lived in different cells. Someone was bound to grow suspicious about him and I talking to each other during every yard time. Therefore, to succeed, the first thing I needed to do was to get Pi in the same cell as me. Hotaru was a greedy, conniving, and disgusting weasel of a man. He had his own weaknesses. Rather, there was something about him that I could exploit. Hotaru loved card games, and he was a great player. He played with the other inmates a lot, sometimes with wagers of over 5 figures. He had won a lot of money in here with his special skills. Nevertheless, many people were still willing to play with him. For one single reason. He never bet any money himself. Instead, he only bet favors. If Hotaru lost, he would do one favor for the winner, as long as it was within his power. Hotaru got along really well with all the guards. He had no trouble smuggling in some contraband or getting some privileges for someone. Even the guards enjoyed playing a hand or two with him every once in a while. It was always a sweet deal for Hotaru, and so it was time for me to ask him for a favor. If I could win, there was no doubt that he would agree to switch cells. I didn't have to worry about him being suspicious of my intentions or reporting it to the guards. Hotaru's only good quality was that he would always hold up his end of the deal. The only problem was that it would not be easy to win. I never played poker when I was in Mexico. After coming to Hong Kong, I'd only played a couple of times when Ren would teach me. Besides, I didn't have any money to gamble with. This wasn't my idea, it was Pi's. Pi agreed to lend me a lot of cash, and even blackmailed some of the inmates to help train me. Soon everybody seemed to think of me as Pi's sidekick, and they began to show me more respect. A month had gone by and I was finally feeling a little confident. Win or lose, it all depended on tonight. I took out 10 1,000 Hong Kong dollar bills and counted them in front of Hotaru. He was ready to lie down, but I saw his eyes glisten. He sat back up and crossed his legs. Fine, let's have a quick game then. Blackjack. 21 points in China. It also means 9 p.m. in the evening. 2100. Rules were simple. Both sides drew 4 cards with a pile after shuffling. Players then exchanged one card with the other. Oh. Whoever the hand that ended up closest to 21 wins the hand. That's not exactly the blackjack I remember. Whereas people who really know how to enjoy their lives might do something more meaningful, such as listening to great music and playing Will a Wonderful World. Ace's value could be either 1 or 11, while jacks, queens, and kings all count as 10. Both players with the same sum. If a hand was a tie, they would draw a new hand. One whose hand was closer to 21 wins half the opponent's bet. The game continues. If the winner had a hand of exactly 21, he wins half the opponent's stake and the game ends. Blah blah blah. Same bet at the beginning. Whoever had more winnings wins the full game. Well, the rules made the game sound like it could go on forever, and usually ended quickly as there are numerous combinations that have 20. So I did expect for him to play blackjack with me, since it relied a little more on pure luck than skill. Then again, I wasn't so sure if that was a good thing for me or not. Shuffling, drawing. I stared at my cards, thought long and hard, with my heart pounding in my chest. I decided to keep those cards. 2, 3, 6. I gave Hotaru this card. 8. Ah, wish I had this card in my hand. Ace. Took the card from Hotaru. It was an ace! Why would he give away an ace? Hotaru slammed his cards in the bed. 8, ace, ace, ace. Holy shit! 11. 8, 9, 10. Plus 11, 21. Game over! Thanks! Hotaru grabbed the 5 bills, stuffed them in with other winnings, and went to sleep. Only one game. I was still sitting in my chair, stunned at my unbelievably bad luck. Would Pai's plan really work? Was there any other way? Carlos. Well, let's play blackjack. So I gave Hotaru an 8. I mean, fuck it, let's try it. Took the card from Hotaru. It was an ace. Why did he give away an ace? Hotaru slammed the ace I had just given him on the bed. You cheated! I didn't understand what had happened. Hotaru showed me the rest of his hand. Ace, ace, ace. Including the ace he had just given me, there were 5 aces! There had to be something wrong with the cards. But Hotaru didn't give me a chance to explain. He went straight back to bed. I absolutely hate cheaters. Play with the others, you loser. Bad! I mean, holy shit, there's a lot of endings. Okay. So, Hotaru has 8, ace, ace, ace. Till like 14, 15, 16. Oh, that's still bad. 8, ace, ace, ace. Instead I gave Hotaru the 8. This might be good. Because we started out... We got 21. Took the card from Hotaru. It was an ace! Why would he give away an ace? We showed our hands at the same time. Neither of us had 21. However, there were 5 aces amongst our cards. We stared at each other and counted the entire deck again. Not only was there 1 too many aces, it was also missing a 2. Hotaru suspected that someone must have messed with the cards the last time he played. In the end, we had to get a new deck and restart the game. Unfortunately, I lost this time. Bad. Okay, let's turn hints on. Okay, so... Okay. So we... 17. Took the card from Hotaru. It was an ace! Why did he give away an ace? We showed our hands at the same time. Neither of us had 21, but my hand was closer. Won half the bet from Hotaru. However, the next hand, Hotaru hit 21. Game over. I lost. Shit. Does this make any... No, it doesn't. Of course that wouldn't make any difference. Bad. Neither of us had 21. This is literally 21. I got it straight. Okay, we'll give Hotaru the 8. Let's give us 20. Took the card from Hotaru. It was an ace. Why would he give away an ace? Double check my hand. 3, 6, ace, ace. 21! Tara and I slammed our cards on the bed at the same time. Game over. Oh wow, 5 aces. We both had 21. Wait, how can there be 5 aces? I grabbed him by his collar. So that's how you've always won. You're a cheater. Hey, shut your mouth, you're the cheater. The other inmates were all woken up by our yelling. They were now booing and cheering from their own cells. Taro pushed me away. Count the cards. Counted the whole deck. Realized that not only was there one too many aces, it was also missing a 2. Both stripped off all of our clothes to prove our innocence. We searched through the entire cell, and still couldn't find the missing 2. Taro suspected that someone must have messed with the cards the last time we played. In the end, we did get a new deck and restart the game. We need to win without 5 aces. Seems like we start out with an ace. If we start out with an ace... Well, okay. This is something different. The card from Otaru was an ace. Why would he give away an ace? Now he was at 21. His hand was closer. He had 21. Total defeat. Okay, so what is the only outcome we haven't tried? So, give it him 2-3-6, ace 3-6, 2 ace 8. I haven't done 2-3-8 yet. Don't really know if it's changed anything, but give Otaru 6, that's also bad. Oh boy. This is just a thought, but it might still backfire, but we got 21 with 3-6-8, 3-6 ace. There we go. Give Hotaru a 2. Took the card from Otaru. It was an ace. Why would he give away an ace? Double checked my hand. 3-6 ace ace 21. I slammed my cards on the bed. Game over. Otaru looked at the cards and yelled, "You cheated!" He showed me his hand. 2 ace ace ace. How could there be 5 aces? No, I didn't. Must be you. Don't lie to me. If you're still a man, just own up to it. I honestly did not know where the 5th ace came from. Even though I didn't think Otaru would do something like this, I couldn't afford to be a pushover right now. Otaru looked a little tense. He was silent for a while, and eventually squeezed out a sheesh. Fine, you won. Let me be clear, I'm not a miracle worker either. Of course. All I'm asking is for you to switch cells with Pi. Please say yes. Please say yes. I silently prayed to the Lord in my heart. Both my hands were clenched in fists. Otaru looked troubled this time. Sorry, I can't. No way! I collapsed into the chair and let out a disappointed sigh. Didn't expect that the plan would fail at this step. I was so close. Well, listen. I'll tell you why, but you have to promise not to tell anyone. Otaru put away the cards and lowered his voice. But even if you do, I can guarantee you'll be the one to suffer. I got off the bed, and he started pulling out the stuff that he'd been piling underneath it. Then he told me to look under the bed. I lay down on my stomach and put my head to the ground. Wow! A huge hole! Does that mean we can get out of here without Pi?
Dios, ¿qué debería hacer?
I guess so. We'll find out if Carlos escapes, with or without Pi, next time.